West must stop pretending Putin is reasonable. Ukraine ambassador.
Here's a summary of the article.
As Ukraine seeks international backing for its 10-point peace plan and proposed summit at the United Nations in February, Kyiv is simultaneously framing Moscow as untrustworthy and detached from reality, a conclusion Ukrainian leaders say is supported by Putin's false ceasefire offer and the Kremlin's refusal to downgrade its war goals. There is still the same expectation that he can be dealt with, Ukraine's ambassador to the UK, Vadim Prystaiko, told Newsweek in an interview at Kyiv's embassy in London, just hours before Putin announced a unilateral 36-hour ceasefire rejected by Ukraine to mark Orthodox Christmas, which his forces then repeatedly violated. He's still perceived as the reasonable guy to talk to because people want to believe that he's a reasonable guy, Prystaiko said. The war in Ukraine will most likely have to end with a negotiated settlement, as Putin himself has acknowledged. Prystaiko, who led the Ukrainian delegation in negotiating the Minsk agreements, which paused fighting in the east of Ukraine following Russia's 2014 invasion but ultimately failed to peacefully resolve the conflict, said there is no indication Putin is ready to compromise, and little hope he would honor anything agreed in future talks. The system made him this way, the ambassador said of Putin. The threat along the Belarusian border remains, with Ukrainian officials warning that Minsk may finally throw its troops into Putin's morass in Ukraine.
This post received a score of 33,000, with an upvote ratio of 90%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Evidently, China agrees.
Russia is up for grabs after this, and China will be doing the grabbing.
Grab them by the Siberia. Cheeky smiley face.
Not exactly. But China is watching the CSTO dissolve and are eyeing up the former Soviet Asian republics and are rubbing their hands. They won't invade and annex, they'll just turn them into client states.
China visited Armenia recently. Its BRI project is going right through Russia's old sphere.
China, India, and Turkey are vultures circling.
Imperialism, 2023 Eastern style?
They aren't going to invade or annex anyone. But many former Soviet republics of the Balkans, Caucasus, and Central Asia are anxious to get out from under Putin's thumb, and with all Ukraine has cost him, they see a chance and other hungry parties see their opportunity. Turkey has been flexing their diplomatic clout over Sweden and Finland joining NATO, over Cyprus, and over Syria.
Greater than but many former Soviet republics of the Balkans at the risk of being, that guy, no Balkan state was ever a member of the USSR, but your point still largely stands. All Balkan countries are in NATO bar Serbia, Bosnia and Macedonia.
Would you consider Moldova to be Balkans? I could see it being argued as such.
A very reasonable request, I'd think.
When was the last time the West pretended Putin was reasonable?
When Germany signed those energy agreements.
Gia, after the Crimea annexion, we should have stopped negotiating, but here we are. I am no CDU and Merkel, not even an SPD guy, but I think the general idea of importing Russian gas as one, large, part in the fossil energy mix was not a bad one. Nord Stream 2 was fishy AF though, and not supported among the general population, I can assure you that. But that thing is gone forever anyways. We need to aim for 100% renewables ASAP, as any Western country should. It's possible, and we see it here in Germany.
Nah, we won't. As long as our people think der atomic energy bad, you won't go 100% renewable with wind turbines and solar panels in this country, because people cry when they see a wind turbine 50 kilometers from their home.
And stop pretending he's the only problem with that country. If he dies, any of the thousands of other insane and possibly worse ones may take over.
Agreed. Russia has experimented with democracy a handful of times, but guys like Putin always come out on top. I suspect it is because Russians are so used to corruption that they don't see it as a big deal. This leads to weak checks and balances on rulers who can swiftly take power. I don't really see a way for them to fix the corruption that has become a part of their DNA. I'm thinking outside the box here, but maybe having a Supreme Court located in a third-party country could help stifle corruption.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.